No, I'm good. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Discus Talk.
Hello.
Hello.
Today we have with us the
can't hear
CEO of
anyone.
DiscusX X, Amjad. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Discus Talk.
Uh-oh.
We have with us the CEO of DiscusX, Amjad. Uh-oh, we lost him.
Yeah.
All right, he'll be back, guys. So, Carrie, what you got going on in your fish room?
Yesterday was a very hard day. I had to really make a decision on what I was going to keep for future breeding and what I was going to get rid of. So, yeah, it was pretty tough. Let a lot of nice fish go for real cheap. But had to be done because I get a little carried away and don't want to get rid of nothing for a long time. And then it gets too big and then I'm out of room. And, yeah, so only got so much room to work with. But it was a long day of catching fish and netting fish and water everywhere and hoses and buckets. And I'm glad it's over.
Yeah. Sorry, I disappeared on you for a second there. Oh, Amjad, welcome to the stream.
Yes,
You want to
welcome.
tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, sure. Where to start from? Okay, let's. Maybe I can start with a little bit introduction of pre-Discus X era, which is the main highlight right now in my life.
Right.
I'm from Egypt. I grew up in the UAE, which is United Arab Emirates. People know it as Dubai. That's what's most famous over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I returned to Egypt to graduate from University of Alexandria. I took my bachelor degree in the Bachelor of Science. That was in zoology and chemistry.
Wow.
And then I worked as a lab technician and a research assistant as a part-time in King Fahd University. That was in chemistry.
Nice.
That's for 4 years. Later on, I worked as a professional chemist in the petrochemical industry in SABIC. That was in Saudi Arabia as well. And this is when the discus hobby started. The extra income helped me to to go into discus at that time.
Right.
It all started with one aquarium and then quickly became a fish room. I was very active at DiscusX forum at that time. That's where I started knowing where to go with discus. And then later on, I took my fish room as a research because of my background with BSc. It was not only a hobby, it was also some sort of experiment. So I used to conduct experiments. That's how we try to figure out what is wrong or what's right. And then I got to know Sami, which was he was in Thailand. He started Full Moon Sami with his wife, Khadija.
Right.
And then we were talking about things, the issues we are facing with the hobby and the issues we used to face as hobbyists and as importers, because that's what we started to do. I think this is the normal how things grow with the discus enthusiast. At one time, no discus is enough discus, and he wants to get all the strains in the world and everything in the hobby. So it was a good excuse, to become an importer, so I can get all the fish and just selling them and make an income to cover the expense of the hobby is just another excuse. Yeah. So
I think so, that's how everybody starts out.
Then we used to face a lot of challenges doing this, starting from getting actually what we want or what we dream of as what we perceive as a good discus or a best discus and the variety. Then comes in all the challenges with the health, breeding, all the parasite sickness issues, the difficulties you have to go through, the things that come between your what you're looking for and actually enjoying the hobby, enjoying breeding discus. So this is how we wanted to find solutions through creating DiscusX X, and this is how DiscusX X was born. And we selected Thailand to start from there. Actually, it's a good help because it's involved in the tropical fish export, and it quickly grew into things we didn't have in mind when we started at the beginning. What we wanted to do is just maybe combine discus from all the good breeders and export around the world. It quickly became to a farm and new things. We discovered new things. Maybe we can talk about later. So this is what I'm doing right now. So I'm the executive director of DiscusX. Sami is the operation director, and he's actually the real breeder in DiscusX. It's Sami because he's doing the actual breeding all the time. I'm the scientific, so I'm the technical support over here at the moment in DiscusX. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's good to see, when you hear about discus farms, it's always Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, but from someone from Egypt doing something like this is awesome. It shows that it can be done with the right tools. Definitely very, very cool.
Yeah, sure.
It shows it can be done in any country, but it has to be done in a reasonable manner. It's not something you can jump up. I want people to know it's not something that you can start overnight. You can't just all of a sudden jump into a fish farm. It doesn't work.
It's very difficult.
That's obviously something that MGAD has done for years. So.
Yeah, and it's very costly. A big investment has been invested in Thai. Me and Sami, we could have not done it alone. There are some angel investors going that have backed up DiscusX, so it's actually a startup. Maybe it's the first startup in discus world. I'm not sure of the news, but this is how we started as a startup, and there are investors funding DiscusX. So there's a lot of money going into this. It's very, very difficult to start.
That's how things are done nowadays.
Yeah. Yes.
That's great. Well, good for you guys. You guys deserve
a lot of time in it, for sure.
Thank you.
Wow. So, and I'm going to show some of the pictures that you sent me from your breeding farm and that sort of thing. And you can talk about them or whatever as they come up. Here we go. All right. I'm just going to leave it like this so we're still on the screen.
Glasses time.
That's a really pretty fish. I want to tell you, I absolutely love that blue.
Yeah.
So tell us about this room.
Okay, this is the let's say the engine. We can say the engine at DiscusX. This is our grow out system. Here, when we were going to start DiscusX, this was a big debate, and it was a big risk to take the leap because at that time no one had implemented what is known as a RAS system, a recirculating aquaculture system, in the aquaculture of discus. So we didn't know if it's going to work. It was supposed to be the highest standard to raise fish, and that's what the commercial growers are doing to grow food fish like tilapia or salmon or whatever type of fish. Even prawns and shrimps, they grow them in such system. This system have an advantage to grow fish at very high densities when you compare them to raising in normal ponds or aquariums. So they are so-called intensive systems. We were worried that using intensive system, it will affect the shape of the discus. It's something maybe not very important in a food fish, but it's very important in a show fish or a hobby fish like ornamental discus. But eventually it worked out, but it worked out with the turnaround. So we could have not done this if we have not gone to the parasite-free routes. So this is something else.
So is this The system is it. So explain how it kind of works on how you're recirculating the water. And I kind of understand what you're saying about worried about the shape of the fish, because I know a lot of goldfish breeders. Certain types of goldfish have to be only raised in like a foot of water, or their backs or their spines, and the finnage doesn't come out right compared to keeping them in like high definition depths of water. So that is pretty interesting. But you did say that you had to run them in this type of system, that they need to be parasite free, because you're like keeping higher densities of fish together at one time.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
so how does the system work?
This could be a factor. Being parasite free actually is one factor. It's not the only factor. It can be done with let's say non-parasite free, but that have already been well treated and well quarantined.
Right.
So they at least they're not heavy on parasites. You can get rid of flukes. You can get rid of worms. I mean roundworms or capillaria or similar. You can never fully get rid of hexameta. Hexameta can only be controlled.
Right.
It cannot be totally eradicated through medication.
I find myself in that argument with a lot of people with the hex. So they're like, everything could be cured and be removed from the fish. And I always, I've always tried to, face that fight with people saying, no, it's always there. It's a stress related disease. You can't get rid of it. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's very true. I've had even a discussion with Manaus CEO back at the time of when we started this. When I started before DiscusX, that was when I had the Discus Arabia fish room running, and I imported wires from Victor Hugo of Santarin, and
Victor's
at that time I tried. I tried at that time metronidazole, and I tried their product that was. It's based on a different active ingredient. It's 2,3,5, I think, nitrofuranol. I cannot just remember the exact ingredient, but it's actually a different. So I tried that. I tried metronidazole. I tried to increase the doses. Whatever you do, hexameta stays around.
Yes.
The only thing you can do is to control the number of hexameta. So every time I took a sample into a microscope, it only takes me a lot of time to look for a hexameta, but it's always there, even if I can only find only one or two, let's say, counts of a hexameta in a slide under a microscope. When I had the discussion with him, that's what he was trying to say, that it's not considered a disease or an infection if you cannot find at least, let's say, a certain number in a certain area. Then you can consider your fish infested with the disease.
Yeah. Right.
All
right, let's go to the next slide.
Yeah. So.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So should I go back to the RAS system?
Yeah. Let's go back one time, Tammy. He's going to explain.
Okay. Yeah. This image is a good image. Okay. So these tanks are round tanks, around 2,000 liters each. They have the good thing about these tanks, they are self-cleaning. So the solid wastes are naturally through the water flow, through the design, let's say the correct design of a RAS system. Solids will be collected, the suspended solids, as well as the heavy solids, which will accumulate on the ground. They will naturally collect and go with the outflow. First of all, they will pass through a settlement filter. This settles the heavy waste by gravity. Then the finer wastes will be, which is floating with the water flow, will go to the drum filter. This is also an automatic filter that collects the finer solids on a mesh, and it's automatically clean. Then it goes to the biofilter. After the biofilter, it goes to the sand filter, which collects the very, very fine solids out of the system, and which is cleaned daily. So the beauty about this system is we can commercially raise a high number of fish, and the fish waste is automatically collected and cleaned out of the system with a minimum maintenance. So the time you will spend on maintenance on the system with around maybe 20,000 fish. It's around 1 hour to feed and to open up a few valves, and the system will clean itself.
Wow, so, that is amazing.
That is amazing.
This is how it's done commercially. Yeah.
How many gallons does that just one of those vats hold?
In metric, it's 45,000 cubic meters. This is 45,000 liters. In gallons, it would be around 12,000 gallons or 13,000 gallons.
So they're pretty big. That's an amazing system.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do today to survive in the fish farm business.
Yeah.
So this type of filtration is key to your success. Wow, very amazing. How much water do you guys normally change? I would think you wouldn't have to change much water now.
We change somewhere around 30% daily.
Beautiful. That's perfect, I would think. Definitely.
Yeah. So it's also let's say a green business model when you come to discus farming, because usually to get a high quality fish, you need to change from 100 to 200% of water daily. So this is when you do the math, we've saved around that was more than I think 90% of the water wasted in a traditional way to raise the fish.
Wow, that's awesome. Good plan. Definitely good plan. Very interesting.
That's definitely an expensive setup.
It pays for itself, though. Pays for itself every day.
That's true.
It pays, and it's actually very expensive. The overhead cost is very, very high, and we're actually these times are very difficult times for business. So we are going through hard times, but we think things are going for the better in the coming days. Yeah.
Best wishes. That's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, what do you got going on in this picture?
Okay, this was our first experiment with the hatchery. With the nursery. That's the nursery.
Nursery. I like it.
Yeah. So this is where the fish first go from free. Let's say it's the second step. We started by actually artificially hatching the eggs, and they spent the first few days in floating nets. We can come to that later. But once they get to around 2 weeks old and they're feeding on Artemia exclusively, they get moved to the transparent tanks. You can see at the right side of the picture from where I can view it. It's on my right view. These are the transparent tanks. And these are special type of tanks we used, and because the flow they come down as a cone, and the flow comes from the bottom to the top. Yeah, so the Artemia stays in a suspended state most of the time, and there's the waste also, the light waste flows up with the water. And it's a very good system to raise the fry, and it's very tricky because you have to maintain a flow that suspends the Artemia, and at the same time it's not very strong to take the Artemia out of the water very fast. Also, it should not allow the fry to go to the overflow. So we had to come up with a mesh that has holes enough to let the waste come out, but not large enough to allow the fry to come out of the overflow. So it's tricky.
I can understand that system. That's another. Wow, that is amazing. I understand what you're doing. I hear you. That is great. Good idea. Yeah, to run the water through the bottom up and keep, because you get the baby brine in there, you'll get where it like falls all in the corners and just piles up, and after it dies, usually the fish won't, they won't really try to eat it, and it just gets stuck in your filters. But that's an amazing system. That is a great idea.
Yeah. Also, there's one more thing. The small space is also key when you come to the first few days, especially when there's no parents around, to have the fry condensed in a small area. This is the job of Culling. So if you take the parents out, you need to reduce the volume to a minimum. Fry should not be left in a big aquarium, especially for the first 4 weeks, 3 weeks minimum. They should be in a very small volume of water. This will allow them to find the food easier and eat more and spend less energy just going around the aquarium to look for food. So at 1 month, they get introduced to our beef heart mix, which is not a pure beef heart mix. We just use beef, and beef heart is not the only heart used in the formula as well. We use other types of heart, so it's a mix of hearts and fish meat and Nutri boost, and they start get introduced to the mix when they are in the let's call them cone aquariums or cylindrical aquariums to the round tanks, which are the cylindrical also tanks. They have the same concept of water flow, comes from the bottom to the top.
Nice.
Yeah, and then they start getting used to the high water volume and round shapes before they go to the bigger, rounder tanks.
Right. That's very cool.
Grow up from. The filtration is the exact same concept for every system. It does not.
Nice.
Somebody asked you to turn the filtration off when you're feeding them.
Yes. This is something we do in the first few minutes with the Artemia. So we turn off we just close the valve that runs through all the tanks. So we just have to turn off the valve, and we add the food, and then we leave it for maybe 5 to 10 minutes with no flow, and then we turn on the flow back. So the Artemia at this time will stay suspended for some time, and then gradually they will die off and
Somebody asked if you use any solar power.
This is something, and it's very cold now, so I'm trying to get warmed up.
Is it cold there? Is it cold?
Yeah, the minimum is 8 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God, I never thought.
That is Fahrenheit. Maybe it's not so cold. You are used to colder.
Yes.
But
it's probably about the same. I'm freezing. All right, let's look at the next picture.
Nice.
Now, are these those first bats that we were looking at?
Yeah, this is the picture for the grow out system, but from our first floor. So you can see this was the last picture taken before introducing the fish there. That's why the water is crystal here. And thanks.
Nice setup. And there's some of the babies.
Yeah, this is the first stage I was talking about, raising the fish after hatching. So once they go into free swimming. So the first day of free swimming is they spend it in the nets. The nets are floating over a tank of water. and the tank is connected to a filtration system. It can also be done without any filtration system. We have done both. So because at this stage, the water quality has to be
Yes.
very clean. So filtration systems can do the job, but you need a very strong filtration system, even with this like UV or chemical disinfection, because they will be very sensitive to any source of bacterial load, let's say. This is something bigger fish can handle easily, not free swimming. So doing it with water change can be easy if it's done correctly. So water needs to be, you need to have a pre-treated clean stock of water at the same conditions of the water in the tank to do the water change.
Right.
We had an idea that was inspired from hydroponics, because I also do hydroponics.
Nice.
As a business. So we had something called floating rafts where we grow plants on a styrofoam.
Yes.
And that's called deep water culture. So I told him we can imply the same idea. So we had actually the nets on a foam, and we used to change the water, and the nets would just go down and up with water change. So we can easily change the water without them going out of the water, so they are never disturbed, and we can do the 100% water change with the same water conditions without disturbing the fish.
Wow. Now, do you start off all your artificially when you're raising the fry? Do you start off with the Artemis baby brine shrimp?
Yeah, first food is the secret of succeeding with artificial breeding.
Gotcha.
So this is the secret, but it's not a secret. But I can reveal the secret, but it would still not be revealed, because the secret is the technique, actually, and not just the food. So the food is Artemia, and it is also what we released as a product recently. It's an extract of the ingredient is not a secret. It's just an extract from algae, which is high in omega-3 and it's high in unsaturated fatty acids and simple digestible proteins. It's extracted from spirulina and other types of algae. Yeah, and that's it's a commercial product available out there. So we employed that and also Artemia as the first food.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's very neat. All right. We can move on. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So it's just interesting. I've never seen it done like this before. This is very interesting to me.
It is interesting. What are we looking at here?
Okay, this is from left to right. We can see the side of the tank. This is we have two round 2,000 liter tanks. So in total there are 4,000 liters.
Wow.
I think there's something here with sound, or is it only me hearing it?
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of feedback on your mic.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It wasn't like that before. I'm not sure what changed.
Yeah, something happened where we're getting a little disturbance.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Okay. I'll just try to go slower so the interference isn't.
Just a question. Do you have the sound up somewhere on the YouTube channel or something?
Again?
Do you have the YouTube channel pulled up? Or are you just on the StreamYard?
No, I actually on anything. I only on the YouTube channel.
Because it's getting a little worse.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on StreamYard myself.
Yeah, I'm just on StreamYard as well.
I have not changed anything since we started, so it might be something related to the network.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, okay, we'll continue on. Hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah, we'll go backwards.
Yeah, okay. So we were talking about the filtration system. This picture is from the blowout system. So we had we used for the biofiltration. It's getting really worse. I'll try to. I think you cannot hear me, right?
We can hear you, but it's a little tough.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's doing that.
It's not good. Because I'm afraid it won't get better. Let me try to, because I'm talking on speaker, I can try to switch devices to the laptop instead of the mobile phone, and also maybe try a headphone or a headset, so everyone else can even hear the sound.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Just a minute.
Maybe we jump out and jump back in.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Because I'm getting it from you too, Tammy. Are you getting it from me?
No, you're clear.
Is it one? There's an option on the mic settings right here. Echo cancellation. This
Okay.
is turned. Maybe it's. Make sure it's on. Let me try to switch the headphone. Just a minute.
Okay.
Do you think we should do anything, Tammy?
I tried muting mine to see if it would help, but I think that his sound is giving feedback.
Yeah, it happened. It happened last time to me when Santa Claus came and delivered gifts. when he came, everything was fine. When he came on and started doing that, and I just dealt with it. I didn't think anyone else was having problems, but then when he left, it went away.
Yeah.
I'm getting it a little.
It's almost like his mic is picking up the sound from the stream, so it's echoing it.
Right. Craziness. All this high-tech stuff.
Yeah, I've got a headset too, but I'm not using it. I had issues with it the last time, so I quit using it. Carrie, somebody wants to know if you have a YouTube channel.
No, I just jump in on everybody else's YouTube channels.
I'm good. They also ask if you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, but that's not active. I just have it for a long time, and I don't really produce YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Actually, I could probably pull yours up because I've actually been to your YouTube channel.
Okay. It's not. It's my headphone is actually connected, but it's not picking up. I don't think it's the reason, because when we started, the sound was actually good. Maybe I can jump out and jump back in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We try too, maybe.
Yeah,
one at a
that
time.
might be better.
I tried to do that first.
Okay, you get to go first.
Yours is fine, Karen.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's.
I'm getting it from, when you talk. It's coming from. I'm getting it from you too now.
Well, I'm fixing to switch from my YouTube channel. I'm turning it off right now. If that helps.
But I can hear you.
Well, it's not good that we're having this problem for sure.
That is crazy.
Carrie, I'm going to pop out and pop back in.
Okay.
To share first.
I'll hold the fort down.
And
Fort. Now I can see myself better. Adjust this mic. I don't even know where the camera thing is. Anyways.
Carrie was talking about it. It's still doing it.
Yeah.
And I can hear it.
You're actually worse now.
Great. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's still doing it.
Oh my gosh. All right, let me try something else. I'll be right back.
Okay. Technical difficulties. Hang in there, everybody. Hang in there. It's terrible that that happens. That's weird. Boom, boom.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Oh my.
Still doing it.
It's so bad now.
Okay, so is it better now?
Oh, his is better and mine is worse. Let me try switching mics. I'll be right back.
Okay. Maybe
Okay.
it's me. Maybe I need to do something.
No, I think the sound's clear now.
Yeah.
No, there's some interference still there, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
I wonder if I could just hit reload, what would happen? Oh my.
Okay.
Let me try something this time.
So is it good now? I think yeah.
Hey, yours is fine. How's mine?
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, it's perfect.
it
It
was
seems
me.
that everyone needed to reload the.
Yeah.
To
It was me the whole
Yeah.
time.
Okay. No,
Perfect.
it wasn't
Oh my
you.
gosh. Thank you.
Okay, let me pull the screen back up where we were at. And we'll get back to this.
Okay.
Straight two. There we go.
Yay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
guys. We got it taken
Guys,
care of.
everything sounds real good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's perfect. Now we can talk without any interference.
Yes.
So yeah, okay. So we were talking about the biofiltration. It's two tanks, round tanks with 2,000 liters of water. That's around in US gallon. That would be I'll do 1,000. A third, so yeah, maybe 2,600 US gallons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are loaded with K3 media. I think it's K3 or 4. It's not K1.
Yeah.
These are the larger ones.
Right.
Yeah, so this is the bio home in our filtration system, and it's the only biofiltration component. We don't use any fixed or submerged media like rocks or any type of porous media that's substrate, because by time they will naturally accumulate organic matter, which is dead bacteria basically, or accumulated organics. So we don't want any, because any fixed biomedia will need maintenance, and we don't want the maintenance.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so this is the only biofiltration we use. Then the black let's say sphere after this is this is the sand filter. This is a pool sand filter. It's a regular sand filter used in swimming pools. Then comes the green cone. This is called an oxygen cone. This is what's used to feed, or one of the devices utilized to feed pure oxygen into the water.
Right.
So you can oxygenate this. This allows for raising higher densities. We have not used that yet.
Right.
So it's there when we need it. Theoretically, it should let us double the stocking density with the exact same setup by only activating the cone. So at the moment, we can house, let's say, a single tank will take 2,000 2.5 inches discus. We have 20 tanks. So this is 20 by 2,000. So it's 40,000, let's say, piece. At adulthood, we can do at a maximum size, which is 6 to 7 inches, 8 inches. We can do 6,000 pieces. So that's what we do at the moment. If we activate pure oxygen, and this would be done if we actually have the market demand and the sales that require this, we can go to 80 to 24,000.
Wow,
pieces.
you guys thought of everything. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it had to be done beforehand because it's actually very expensive, and the overhead cost of the facility itself is high. Energy consumption is high, so you have to get the cost back.
Yeah, there's the cost. Just the cost alone in your country is high. Labor, everything is still pretty. Compared to like Vietnam and other places. Yes.
Yeah, it is high, especially energy. It is high. Yeah, here we have one of the sumps for this is the sump for the breeding room. The first breeding room, and not the second breeding room, which is the parasite free. This breeding room contains it's an isolated room, and it contains the breeding stock that we had to start with, which is obviously not the parasite free. They are imported from either wild or domestic from Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam. We've got them all, and the last stage you can see a blue light, which is actually the UV UV light. Yeah,
that answers somebody else's question.
Yeah, but this is actually not the best way to use UV lights. We switched to enclosed system. So where the lamps are enclosed in a cylinder, right, which is what usually a hobbyist would have in his home system, but at a larger size. Yeah,
very cool.
And it's exactly the same thing. If we have a picture of the full sump, it starts with a drum filter, then it goes to what you can see at the right side, which is the media, biological media. Then it goes to the UV. And then it goes to the sand filter, and then to the aquariums. Yeah, but ideally, a UV would be placed after the sand filter, which is after it gets polished from all the fine waste. Yeah, and that's what we switch to. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Brine Shrimp Hatchery.
Yeah, that's the Brine Shrimp Hatchery. It's a 20 liters cone flipped.
Wow.
20 liters cone.
Yeah. I like it.
It's a big boy.
We have two of these. you need a lot of artemia to feed a lot of babies.
Yes.
Yeah. This is what we have talked about. But this is a close-up picture from the nursery. These are the cones. Where we kept the fry from 7 days old to 30 days old.
Nice.
Yeah, this is at some stage where we were actually when we started using the breeding. What do we call it? We just call it cups at the farm. So it is the stainless steel cups. Okay. We used to hang them above the tanks, and then we just flipped the cups into the tanks when we wanted to move the fish.
Okay.
Yeah. Very neat. Yeah, I like those. I see what you're saying.
I like those too. And it's very, very clean. Right.
Yeah, this is when we were running out of space, so we just used everything. Then we came up with the separate system to keep the fish in the cups, the floating cups. Yeah, this is the biomedia and the nursery. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is the eggs. Yeah. This is how parasite-free discus are made. This is the first and most critical step. We first disinfect them with chloramine T. It's very challenging because we had to come up with the right conditions. Temperature, pH, TDS all plays a role in the actually the effect of, and actually the actual concentration and time of chloramine T, because you have to get rid of all the parasites and you still have to not kill the eggs to get a decent hatch. So this was the most challenging step, is coming up with the right conditions.
Right.
And, it took a lot of experiments. We killed hundreds of batches, maybe even more than 100 a batch. Maybe I think we easily. To come up with the right conditions, we wasted more than 150 to 200 batches. If you count the number of fry there, it's a huge loss.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that.
Dr. Samuel Pountney is with us today, and he has asked, he wants to know how you found the effectiveness of the drum filter.
It's very effective, to say the least, because it gets rid of the waste as soon as it gets accumulated to a certain point. So the wash cycle starts every 1 to 2 minutes. So actually most of the waste is directly eradicated outside of the system.
Right.
And instantaneously, the finer waste gets accumulated in the sand filter, and we get rid of that daily, once a day. So if you compare that to raising fish in aquariums, for example, you will clean the tanks with every water change. The maximum you can do is 2 times per day. In a farm dedicated with someone, his life is dedicated to the fish room or the farm, and you have to remove the waste manually through siphoning from the tanks.
Yep.
So it's a very tedious job, and the maximum rate you can do is every 12 hours. But here, using a drum filter, it's automatically removed outside of the water system, because this is something that many hobbyist gets tricked at. He invests a lot in expensive filtration systems, but at the end, the expensive filtration system will just accumulate the waste for you in one place for you to get rid of. So if you use a canister filter or a sump, the solid waste, if it's not in the tank, at least it's inside the filter, but it's still getting decomposed, and it is actively polluting your water column. So you need to take the waste outside of the water column, and this is what the drum filter does. It does it actively every a few minutes. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, you
cannot. Said when they used it at their hatchery, it was letting in a lot of debris after a couple of months, and they ended up getting rid of them and replacing it with the 0.2 micron sand filters.
With the drum filter used to break down on.
So what they were saying is that their drum filter released organics back into the water, or the matter. Repeat that, Danny.
Okay, so yeah, it has to be used with a sand filter in the end, but it takes. Because we talked about 3 steps in the solid filtration. So we had the settlement filter. This takes out the heaviest waste. Then this, if we just compare them by size or weight, so the waste that is heavy enough to settle down from the flowing stream of water will get eradicated, let's say, out of the system in the first step, which is the settlement filter. Then the second step, which is the drum filter, will also actively take out some of the waste. The very fine, the size we're using in the mesh is 100 micron. So anything less than 100 micron, or no, it's 80 microns. So anything smaller will go to the biofilter, and after the biofilter, it will go to the sand filter eventually.
Right.
There, the sand filter will get rid of all the fine waste up to, I suppose, up to even smaller than 10 microns. So it has to be used along with the sand filter at the end.
It's like a chain.
Not alone. Yeah,
I understand. Makes sense.
And in a smaller system, you can use a sand filter alone, and it will take all the load, and it can be cleaned 2 times a day. It doesn't. It will still be very, very good, but you still have the waste from the time of every rinse to the time of the second rinse accumulated inside the sand filter, and it is being decomposed. So it can handle a certain load and a certain density, but after a certain limit or threshold in the amount of discus per liter, let's say, it will not be able to handle the situation.
Yeah. I get it. It makes good sense.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah, this is the round tanks in the nursery. This is where the discus stay from day 30 to day 60. Yeah, once they're 2 months old, they get moved to the rounder tanks.
Wow.
And some of these we've already seen. I put them in the small video.
Yeah.
All of these. And I think that was all of the videos and pictures that you sent. I was very interested in the pictures, and I thought that would probably be the best way to ask you questions about it, would be just to pull them up. How big is your facility? I mean, you're running 12,000 gallons or so.
This is only the grow out system. We have 2 breeding rooms, 1 nursery system, and display room that's not yet in operation. So we have a total of. Okay, I'll do the rough. I should memorize the numbers since I'm the one who designed the system. But my memory is not that good, so I just keep on forgetting. But I can calculate them really fast. The display room is around 25,000 liters. The first breeding room is also the same. So both of them are 50,000 liters. So with the grow out room, that's 95,000 liters. With the 2 nursery rooms, that would come up to 110,000 liters. So yeah, it's totally around 110 to 120 thousand cubic meters. Yeah,
that's very, very large.
1,000 liters, 1,000 liters, yeah, or 110 cubic meters. Yeah.
How many breeding pairs are you working with right now?
Okay, right now we have the active breeding pairs are around 20 active breeding pairs. This is not the number of breeding pairs. This is the number of active breeding pairs. In our breeding stock, we have around 300 discus for breeding stock. Yeah, and we have in our first breeding room 45 breeding tanks. These are the cube. We use the cube tank for the breeding pairs. And in the new breeding room, we have 60 tanks. So they are a total of 100 breeding tanks. 300 species. Yeah, we have not reached the full capacity of our breeding stock yet, because we are moving now from the fish we started with, which is the imported, let's say, discus. With every, it has to take some time because we are producing parasite, and then we are using the parasite-free discus to start a new, let's say, breeding stock that's composed of only parasite-free. So it has to go through a very long process. So it will take some time.
Right.
Wow, you guys got a great plan. You guys got a good plan. I like it. Very interesting.
Thank you very much.
Carrie's sound got quiet again.
I need to move up, maybe. Can you hear me?
Kim had asked that. I think Kim has almost as many breeding pairs as you have active breeding pairs. I think her and Carrie both, their fish reproduce like crazy, both of them. So
yeah, I've cut back on breeding pairs. I'm like, I have to go through stages where I'll breed a lot, have a lot. Then when I get into grow outs, I pretty much have to kind of stop breeding because there's not enough room. So I'm just a basement breeder, so I don't have what you have. That's awesome.
Actually, this is one of the advice I give to anyone interested into going like having a fish room. Is you need very few breeding tanks and you need a lot of grow out tanks.
Yes.
Because eventually you will be the limiting factor will always be the grow out area and not the breeding area.
Right. Yeah, that's the part I enjoy, is growing them out, you know, getting that nice specimens out of them, and that's what I achieve. I like that the most.
Absolutely. I like growing them out and seeing what they're going to turn into when they're adults. I have a hard time letting them go because I want to see what they look like when they're grown. And if you sell them, you can't see them when they're grown.
Right.
I'm having difficulty hearing the voice. It's like robotic, you know.
Mine are Carrie's.
Maybe the network again.
Let me do it again. Here we go.
Can you hear me?
So, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you properly. So it's Carrie again.
Yeah, his sound went out again. All right, let's see if it's
any better.
I can hear you.
Okay.
It's real quiet, but I can hear you.
Very crazy.
I don't know if it's StreamYard.
I'm terrible at computers.
Awesome. Hi, Nan.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see the chat or not. I'm good.
Maybe I can.
Okay, so somebody said it's StreamYard that's having an issue. Almost makes me wish we had used Zoom for this one.
Yeah, I can see the chat right now. Yeah.
Okay. So, God, where do you ship to?
Okay. Okay. Let me open up the comments. We ship to. Basically, you can ship to anywhere in the world that has a flight from Thailand. At the moment, we are working. We are sending to Mexico, to Lulhorn over there. Yeah, in USA, we are just starting with Sire Discus. He's in Chicago. He's making his first test order. He's ordering just a few small discus just to test the waters and make sure everything's okay before going deep. So this would be our first export to US officially. We are also getting. We are just starting with Peru. We're going to Portugal, hopefully by the end of January.
Okay.
that would be with La Casa Discus. We are sending also to soon to Belgium, and hopefully soon to UK. The names are, I cannot publish it unless
Understood.
everything is is in place. But they are well known.
Definitely let us know when you've got everybody in place. Let us know and who to contact and that sort of thing. And definitely when the ones come in Chicago, let me know, or have him let me know so I can come and see them. It won't be that far of a drive.
Sure.
Do an opening.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
Closer than I am, but I'll be definitely interested in seeing what comes in. So.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Amazon Pancakes would like to know how big your tanks are that you run for your breeding pairs in gallons.
I should have the numbers in gallons now before. Okay, it's okay. Our tanks is it's 100 liters in gallons. That would be by 3.8. That would be 50. No, it's not a 50. It's near a 30. It's slightly less than 30.
Yeah, I was saying.
It's a 30 gallon. So it's a cube.
No,
yeah,
I'm not.
It's a cube tank. 50. It's a 50 centimeter cube tank. So in inches, that's a 25-inch cubic tank. So it's height, length, width. It's just 25 inches everywhere. So
gotcha.
This is the idea we're using. Yeah.
No, Bob, my first trip is going to be to Malaysia. So Thailand will have to come later.
It's very easy to go to Thailand from Malaysia. The flight is very cheap. Yeah. So you're invited, since you're in Malaysia. You're invited to DiscusX. It would cost around, I think, $70 or $100 maximum.
Oh, wow.
From Malaysia to Thailand. Yeah.
That would be a fun trip. I would love that.
That would add to, I've got 3 places I want to visit in Malaysia. That would add another one. So that would be interesting for sure. But it's going to be a little while before I do that. So.
Like dream vacation.
Yes.
It is. It is.
Absolutely.
I've done that before. I went on a tour to all the good friends, discus breeders in Malaysia.
Nice.
So it was a wonderful trip. I met a lot of nice people, made a lot of good friends. I met Jackson Keong, Martin NG, Jeffrey Tan, Tony Tan. I also met Mark Tan. Yeah,
Mark
Kenny
Tan, yeah.
Low, Lychee. Lychee, and also Pei Hao Lim. A lot. I don't want to forget anyone, but I met Forrest. Also, Forrest is a very, very, very nice guy. He was he was in a far place. He was not near the KL and Penang. But I just took a flight specially to go down to, I think it's Lahore. It's near Singapore, just to spend the day with him. And I went back to. And he was a perfect host. He and his wife, they are very, very, very nice guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See, I want to go and visit with Jackson Keong and Winson and Wysid and Tony Tan. I mean, who wouldn't want to go and visit Tony Tan? There's so many places I would love to go. So many farms I would love to visit. They have some of the most beautiful fish coming out of Asia in Malaysia and Thailand. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to go? I would love to go. And I'm going to plan it at some point.
Yes.
I've got it in my head to get that planned, but it's going to take a little bit of time for that. So.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm going to drag you along with us.
Yeah, it's also a nice place to visit. They have a lot of nice landscape also.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy. Nature. I like a lot of don't like the crowds and lines and all that stuff.
Yes. No. I enjoy, just seeing the different farms will be fun, and seeing how a different land is, how a different country is, and trying the different foods and that sort of thing. That's also amazing. Francis Barreto asks, at what age do you start culling the fry?
Well, he does artificially rearing.
Yeah. I'm good. Did you hear the question?
Yeah. Yeah, the question about culling the fry?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good question. A very good question. Okay, when we start, I hate culling the fry.
I do too.
I don't like culling fish. So we haven't even discussed culling the fry until recently, when we started having fish that we keep but we cannot sell. So we keep on giving them space to grow and eat, but we're not selling them.
You're a sucker like me.
That sounds like us too. So.
Yeah, so it's something we just started because we can't sell them. Basically, I don't even like. We discussed other options like giving them away, anything but killing the fish, because they still look beautiful. They just have short gill plates or maybe improper finnage, but they are still perfect discus. So I hate the idea of killing them. Even at a young age, they are still lives. Yeah. So we are still discussing culling discus. Well, I would like to receive feedback and suggestions on this idea, because commercially people would just go and cull like they do in the chicken industry. They kill the male chicks right away. But we are not only a commercial business. We are.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't like doing it either. I'm real big with gardens and flowers and vegetable gardens, so a lot of mine do end up there. But this is when they're smaller. When they're smaller, not so attached, it's a lot easier. Once I miss something, like I might have missed a short gill plate or something, and they get to a decent size, then they are hard to definitely get rid of from there. And I can understand that and relate to that.
Well, we've lost God.
Uh-oh.
I think he froze. And the next question is a good one, so I would really like to ask him that if he makes it back to us.
Hopefully he does.
Nope, he didn't. Oh.
Wow, very, very, very interesting to see the different ways.
That was a good question about culling. And it would be interesting. He's going to get overrun with fish if he doesn't do culling.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Francis brought that up. That is a great question, because the way they're raising them up, you're not able to see the fish. You can only see the top of the fish. So you're raising up all these babies. That was like one of my concerns too, was, you're raising all these babies up, but you're really not able to see these short gill plates or any of these other deformalities that happen just because you're top viewing the fish. So that's work alone, going in there through them all and moving them and picking from there. So yeah, wow, amazing. Good question, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping he makes it back. I'm not sure if he lost his internet or what happened there.
Yeah.
But he's got a nice facility. I'm impressed with the amount of time and work that went into that facility.
Oh yeah, the thought process of, okay, well, we're here, but if we ever make it here, let's be ready for this phase, even though we're only at this phase. Yeah, that is
right.
That's how you got to think when you put a hatchery together. I put many together, and I still, when I'm done, I'm like, I should have did this. I should have did that. Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he made it back.
My battery on the phone ran out, so I had to grab the
laptop. I'm in from the laptop. That's why the view has changed.
We had somebody ask if you use live bacteria in your systems. Do you add any live bacteria to your systems? I'm assuming they mean like beneficial bacteria.
Yeah, sure. We used live bacteria to start up our filters, because we have to go that route, because we cannot risk introducing anything live from any other working system. So we started with that. We also we are experimenting with actually adding also live bacteria to help keep the water clean, which is this is a different type of bacteria. It's called heterotrophic bacteria. They feed on dissolved organic waste or solid organic waste in the system. So it's a good way to, but it's something that has to be done on a routine basis, and not just use one time to start off the filters. So this is something we're experimenting with right now, and we have good initial results. It improves water quality. It improves the water color as well, and also it eliminates the grow up of slime on the tanks, the tank walls. Yeah, so it's something we're experimenting with now.
Wow.
We have applied them also in the food. We have this is something we have actually experimented, and it's actually implemented right now in our food. We have certain strains of bacteria, heterotrophic bacteria, that it aids in the digestion, and it stays alive in the fish waste after it gets excreted. So it's actually works on eating the waste as it is excreted. So it reduces pollution from the fish waste.
Right. Certain bacteria that we use that are prophylactic, that help prevent bacterial infections and that sort of thing. So that makes sense too.
Is there anything you haven't thought of?
I don't know. I'm sure
these thought of things I have never thought of.
No, that's amazing. You guys
I'm
are
sitting here, got it going through my head, seeing if I can implement some of the stuff in the fish room, but
wow.
My fish room's not as big as his fish
I'm
room.
a nerd when it comes to these stuff. I try to. It's actually a concept. It's a concept. The easy name is integration. So you try to just look at all the factors that have effect. So food has an effect. When you go to food, okay, the way they think about it in commercial systems, but the problem is we have there's no link at the moment, or no serious link between the scientific, let's say, research and Discus as a hobby, because it's a niche market. It's a small market. Most of the research is done for tilapia, salmon, where the money is. So we have to do our own research and do our own experiment, because what works for a certain species does not have to work for Discus. So we have to.
And
just
that is something that, as you know,
first.
that I've been trying to get in the works, is trying to get more research done as well. And you're in a better position probably than I am. But I do have, researchers that I can talk to, and veterinarians that work with fish that I can talk to. But I can't do the research. I don't have the facility for that. So.
This is something I really encourage hobbyists to do, or actually, let's say, Discus enthusiast, fish room owners. Just you cannot experiment everything at a time. You need to just select one point. Like if you want to experiment with food, you have to select a single ingredient, experiment with, and try different. Let's say I'll experiment in bacteria, so I just need to be focused with certain types of bacteria, put them in the food, and try it at different concentrations. You have to do it with the same breed of Discus. So it has to be done in a scientific way to get results. Otherwise, that you will just get anecdotal observations. Did I pronounce that correct? Because I always read it, but I haven't heard before. Yeah.
It was perfect.
That's just like the people that say they're doing the so-called, well, I took the spawn and I put 20 fry in a 50-gallon and 30 fry in a 40-gallon and 10 fry in a 10-gallon, and they say this experiment it's not an accurate experiment in my opinion.
Number one, you have to have a control group.
Right.
Before you can even start, you have to have a control group. And then your parameters, your water parameters have to be exactly the same in each one of the tanks. The tanks have to be exactly the same temperature, exactly the same size. And you have to document every single step that you take, every water change, every time.
I agree.
And you can't just, say, oh, well, these were the parameters and I fed so much per day and this was my result. No, you have to test that water every day and make sure there were no changes to that water that day. And, there's so much more to it than people realize, and so much more time goes into this research.
Yes, it's not easy. It has to be set up correctly to get, as Tammy clarified, a lot of parameters need to be fixed. The only parameter that should change is the parameter that is being observed. Also, there's one parameter that keeps getting in the way of everything is actually the fish are they have parasites, so these will interfere anyway. So having parasite-free fish to experiment with is a bliss.
Right. Off to a start, right?
And there's a huge difference. So it actually gives a potential to the fish. It's even something that is not available to the discus to experience in the wild. So when fish are grown in the wild, they will naturally have some load of parasites. So the results you get with parasite-free fish is astronomical. It's something else. Getting a 5-inch discus in 5 months. This is
right.
That's unbelievable. We were absolutely amazed when we got the first results for the first time. We could not believe they can grow that fast.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Are you feeding a varied diet, or do you just feed one food? Okay. Being me, I want to put everything I want to give to the fish in one meal, so I don't have to feed a lot of. So every time. Yeah, every time I have an idea about an ingredient I just want to add to the diet, I put it inside of NutriBoost. So I want everything to be in one place. This is the idea of integration. So when I for example, I want to raise the immunity of fish. Okay, just let's research ingredients, natural ingredients, if they are available, to enhance immunity naturally, and then I start adding them to the same food, so I don't have to feed a lot of different foods. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So we try to do that with our beef heart mix as well. We try to add what vitamins that they need and that sort of thing in, but we still do a varied diet on top of that. We'll feed beef heart a couple times a day, but we'll feed a granule or a flake or something at some other point during the day. So, but we do try to get a lot of what they need in the beef heart mix.
It's not a bad idea to vary the foods. You can obviously get your fish exposed to different brands of ready-made food. What's practical to us as a farm is not always the best solution for a hobbyist. It's obviously different. Different scenarios. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Jamil would like to know what your recommendation is to eradicate gill flukes.
Okay.
There's always
good question.
Health questions.
Yeah.
Always going to be the health questions.
Yeah, Carrie is beating the drums because he knows there is a lot of debates out there. I even had discussions with breeders. They are the reputable breeders. I cannot say anything bad about them, but they had the notion that you cannot totally eradicate gill flukes. They will always be a pain you have to deal with. You just need to keep them in control. But this is something I have to disagree with.
Right.
Disagree with, because we experience different results. Praziquantel is the best treatment out there for gill flukes if it is used correctly. We've tried even combining other treatments with fluke, with praziquantel. I just said because that's what we call our praziquantel. We call it Fluke X. So,
fine.
So it's pure praziquantel. Basically, Fluke X is just pure praziquantel. Pharmaceutical grade praziquantel. That's what we offer. It's no secret there. Our only secret is still bacticide and some ingredients in Nutri Boost. These are secrets. The others are just normal ingredients.
I hear a lot of people using the potassium permanganate, and I really don't like the stuff because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to cause damage. And you're using the praziquantel. I like the praziquantel. I use the formaldehyde. It's easy to dose. But I hear so many people using stuff that really they shouldn't even be in the hobby. But the PP is one of them I don't like because it's so easy to cause damage.
Yes. Especially with permanganate, you can because one treatment is not enough. When you come to gill flukes, they have a life cycle. So you will have eventually to do repeat the treatment, and repeating the treatment over a short period of time with the correct concentrations. And you have to, when using permanganate, the purple has to stay, the water has to stay in a purple color. Otherwise, there is no actual treatment. Many people use permanganate, but we don't know that when the color changes, then it's not active anymore. You need to change the water. Another thing, if you repeat the treatment frequently, you'll start eventually damaging the slime coat and damaging the gills. So it's not the go-to medicine to eradicate the flukes totally 100%. With praziquantel, it has to be combined with something else. It has to be either with levamisole or flubendazole at the correct doses, and also salt will also help because salt will allow the fish to start shed off the slime coat from the gills and from the body. Slime coat will shield some of the parasite from the treatment. So something to use. Let's say it will enhance or it's as a catalyst in the treatment. Salt is always a good option to use with stress or with most treatments.
Yes, I agree.
I agree with that
100%. And even when using praziquantel and flubenzenol, I'm still a big believer on treating those fish in that tank. And if you're going to eradicate something, treat it in the tank, have another tank ready that's cycled, move the fish over there, give them a rest, repeat the treatment again for the life cycle of the fluke, and possibly after that be able to move them again to another tank that's totally quarantined, no fluke eggs or anything are available in it. I think that'd be one way to use PP, but I mean that's kind of how it works with me, but on a much smaller scale.
What I always let's say what I have done in my personal fish room, and this is what I implemented in the farm. What I use as 100% disinfectant is chlorine, just the hypochlorite. It's very strong, it's very harsh, and this is the best thing you can use. And obviously it cannot be used on on fish or any live animal, but this is what I use to disinfect the systems, filters, and everything. To be 100% sure, the fish has to be treated in a hospital tank, take the full cycle of the treatment, and then get moved into my growing system. This way, it's like creating a shield over your display aquariums, over your growing system, over your fish room. So you must have that quarantine. Otherwise, if you just go into the definition of a quarantine, it's actually a zone that is separated from anything else. So everything new has to go to your quarantine zone, have to be treated. Then when you're 100% fully sure you have eradicated, let's say, at least worms and flukes and external parasites, take your fish to your display tank, to your aquarium. This way, everyone will save himself a lot of headache, especially with breeding and growing. You just eliminate all the trouble beforehand. So when you go into breeding, then it will be very easy. When you grow your fry, it will be very easy. You will not have the 1 month syndrome, fish dying early, and all the questions that gets popping out again and again. You'll just save yourself a lot of headache from the start. So it's worth it. This is the best investment any hobbyist can have, or any fish room can have, is having a proper quarantine space and program.
Right. Especially if you're going to consider breeding the fish and you want to take it to the next level. I agree 100%.
Yeah. I mean, really, if you're going to breed, you need to start with clean parents. If you need to treat them for flukes or worms or protozoa, go ahead and do that before you breed them, so that you don't have to deal with it when you have fry.
There's a lot of people in the United States that have threw a lot of money into building a fish room, buying breeding pairs, and everything's fine and dandy until they start breeding and producing fry. And even when I first started out, you get some nice fry up to, pea size, and then you lose them all. Oh man, it takes a lot out of you, and I've watched people do that, and they just cannot raise fry because of that reason. And within months, they're done. They're selling all their stuff. They're like, I can't do it. I can't be a part of that. And I used to do that. I used to feel that way too when I first started out. Nice batch of fry, and you lose them all, and you're like, it just takes so much out of you.
It does.
I agree. This is okay. So this is where when we thought about going parasite free, because it's doing the quarantine thing. Also, it's even if you have a single tank, that's a display tank, and you're keeping show fish there. Or very high quality fish, you have already invested a lot of money on these fish, and they are very beautiful attached to them. Okay, so losing any single fish, it's not about the money, it's losing the fish. It's always a bad experience. If you have a break out of bacteria, it's a very heartbreaking sight to see all of your beautiful fish just dying out, and you cannot do anything about it. It's always heartbreaking. So having another solution, that's because not everyone has the capacity to do the research and maybe segregate the information, because there's a lot of good information and a lot of rubbish information out there, and a lot of misinformation maybe being spread on by a goodwill. But starting with a parasite free can give the hobbyist a peace of mind. He does not even need to worry about quarantine. The challenge is we need to have all the different strains that people need until they can even depend on us as a single source, because every discus hobbyist will always have that fish that he needs to add whatever the cost is, and it's only available over there, so he cannot stick with a single supplier. So everyone will mix at the end, and this is when the trouble will start saying hello.
Amazon Pancake would like to know if you have a display tank.
Again? Sorry.
Do you have a display tank with your favorite fish in it?
still we don't have a display tank. That's something we're
So I
planning
thought
to
he's
add,
gonna. I
but-
thought he was building a room, like a display room, like they do in Malaysia, a nice bar and a stage. How?
Yeah, actually, we have that in plan. First of all, we're starting with our display room that would have 66 tanks at three levels. They will have different color backgrounds, so we can house different colored fish according to which color suits them more.
Right.
So we have a lot of different strains to display with. We're going to use RGB LED lights,
Mhm.
so they will look nice, but it won't be as good as a fully set up display tanks. We have a plan to make a 3-meter display tank. So this is going to be the show piece.
Nice.
Hopefully
You have to share
by the
that
end
with us when you guys get done. You have to
Yeah,
definitely share that.
absolutely. We'll do another live stream so you can show it off.
Yeah. We should go
there.
there live action. Just go
Yeah.
there, have a drink.
Yeah, this is the best way to represent it.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I just need to be there too because I'm not there too. I need to go back to it.
Do you feed live food to your breeding pairs?
No live food into the facility. It's no. The only live food we have used in the facility was live Virginia.
Yes.
So because of it's of a salt water origin, so there is very low risk to get anything there. Otherwise, it's only Nutri and our heart mix, yeah, heart and fish meal.
Nice.
Absolutely.
After all that hard work, yeah, I mean, everything you've planned and what you guys are planning, yeah, to throw in some live food after that, yeah, that just would risk the fact of what you're doing, the whole principle.
Yeah, it kind of would.
I'm sorry, Terry, I didn't hear the last part well.
Oh, I was just saying, after all your planning, can you hear me now? Uh-oh.
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, why would you even risk using live food after everything you guys have precaution to put together and your plans? It would just, it would ruin everything if something like that.
Any benefit that could come from a live feed would be worthless against ruining all the efforts, because it's not only physical effort. You have the time. We've started since 4 years, so that's throwing away 4 years. So just live feed is very costly. But anything that is the benefit of live feeds, plus that they are live and moving, is they have most of them. They have enzymes and low, let's say, low molecular weight proteins, peptides, amino acids, also easily digestible fat. So we've included these in the diet already. So that's why we're having the high hatching rate, high fertility rate, and actually the fish spawn easily when they. Because even when we move them to the fish room, we've experimented with the food and we've edited the ingredients a little bit, so we've come to a certain optimum diet composition that will get the fish into the feeding mood, let's say spawn, so they start sliding everywhere.
Right. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I've seen many different foods fed and good results with many of them. So yeah, I mean, definitely what you're doing. That's something. I'm even considering going back to beef heart myself. So yeah, great. I'll have to talk to you more about that.
Sure. Okay.
You guys hear me, or am I messing up again? I'm gonna
I
try.
don't know
Yeah.
if it was yours.
Let me reload again.
Okay.
I don't know if it was Carrie's or if it was yours.
Okay. Carrie is the culprit every time.
It was Carrie's because yours is fine.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get
All right,
him back
how's
in
that?
here. Better.
All right. Yeah.
Much better.
Okay.
I'm terrible with technical stuff. That's why. The worst luck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, when do you expect the fish to come into Chicago?
Very soon, maybe a week. We are looking for, now it's pandemic, so
Right.
everyone is waiting, booking space. So it's not like it used to be. But hopefully the first flight to Chicago.
Nice.
Awesome. I can't wait to see him.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to. I do have his. You sent me his information. I haven't messaged him yet, but I want to reach out to him.
Yeah, sure. The first ones coming in would be the small ones. They are very good quality. They are parasite free, though they will be
Awesome.
very nice. But they don't have the wow factor when you get the larger fishes, 5 inch
Right.
or above. These
Right.
are what gives
Right.
you the the wow, the
Yeah,
perfect
makes-
round ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that'd be it.
hopefully next export will be with bigger ones.
Right. Are
With,
you
with freight cost now? It's very expensive to ship. Most importers now are leaning towards getting smaller fish because it's very
Yeah.
the
Most
rates
of the people
are crazy.
here, most of the people here want to buy the smaller and grow them themselves. So a lot of times the smaller fish will sell faster than the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the costs, freight cost is crazy. So if you can only distribute the shipping cost to
Right.
if a single box will cost around $300 to $400 without only freight, without any other maybe clearance or taxes or anything, it's around
Right.
$400. So if you distribute that to 6 fish, so that's already a very high landing cost. You still have to
Yeah.
put your head and profit, obviously. So the final price will have to be very high. So,
Right.
Do you guys do any breed any type of albinos? Are you messing with any albinos? Discus?
yeah, I love albinos. So yeah, we're actually I'm working on my dream fish is the Ica, the wild Ica, the solid red wild looking fish with a nice black center bar. So this is my personal favorite.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm working on the albino version of that. So or albino version of that. So this is what we're working on. On the way of working to that, we are working with, we have to first achieve the albino, let's say F2 wilds, solid red wilds. We have already reached that. Soon when they grow up, we'll display them, and we're gonna have all the. From there, we're gonna have all the albino variants for. Red, we're going to work with Alton Floras. We'll make albino versions there. For solid red wild discus for Ica, we're going to take it to also the eruption, leopard snake, galaxy turquoise. We're going to albino everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I can't wait to see your list of babies that you've got available now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Hopefully soon we're gonna. Yeah, we're working on the, and this is something we already have done. They're just growing up, the albino calicos and albino red ghosts.
Nice. Calicos. Man, that's. I mean, even you guys are doing a lot. I'm so glad you joined us today. Even like the products you guys have coming out with, everything you're trying to do. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
It's my pleasure all the time. And this is the motto we have. Anything we promote or anything we sell, it's something we use as ourselves. So it's not it's business, of course. We have to maintain a business that we cannot take this factor out. But in the end, it's something we stand back and we are actually using. So if we do not realize benefit of using it, or we don't have a place to fit the use, or actually an effective result, or so anything we use is something that we are convinced is what gives us the best results. And if we find something better, we're gonna replace them for sure. This is our mindset over there. Yeah.
Someone wants to know if you're using aquarium salt in your quarantine process.
This is something I've mentioned when we were talking about Fluke X. So we are using it. Also, when we are getting new fish, the first step will always be a short bath for 4 hours with chloramine T, or aka Protect X. Then we will. This is before they even come into the tanks or the aquariums. So usually we'll do that in a bucket or the styrofoam box itself used for the shipping, and then we will move the fish to the glass tanks with salt and back to side one. So salt is the first step in the aquariums. It will help with the stress. It will help with eradicating external parasites at 2 grams per liter. They will be they will have some effect on external bacteria, external parasites, even on flukes, but the effect won't be enough.
It's severe,
yeah.
Awesome.
I think salt is something that many of the farms, a lot of the hobbies that have big fish rooms or are bringing in a lot of fish, I think salt is something we always have on hand. I know I do.
Yeah, sea salt is what we use. Rock salt is perfect also.
Right. And so we use the reef salt. We like the added minerals. So when we're treating, they get added minerals in their water, trace elements. But that's a personal choice for everybody, as long as it's sodium chloride.
Reef salts would be ideal, but expensive.
Yeah. Kim, you like salt just as much as I do. Where can we buy DiscusX Nutri Boost in the USA or Canada?
Myrtle Beach Discus have them. Champions Discus have them. Sire Discus also have them, which is Sire Discus Chicago, and he's the one getting the fish. He's the first to get the fish. Modern Aquarium also have them. This is in USA. In Canada, we have a new supplier. I'm gonna share his. Let's say I'm gonna share the news today on DiscusX page with the links. But this is a good question, because I was just discussing this with him, and he said we don't have a market for NutriBoost in Canada. So I love the question. It's a good reply.
Now, when most stuff can be ordered in the U.S. and shipped to Canada, so
anyone in Canada can eventually get it from U.S.
So
very cool.
We do ship direct as well.
Questions coming now. It's getting a little slower on the chat, so make sure I didn't miss any.
Everybody's scared now. They're amazed at the complicity of the system and everything they've done. That's pretty amazing. I'm your biggest fan now. I like your train of thought and how you think.
Thank you.
I do.
Planning ahead is always a plus in my book. So
I mean, I wish I had more time on my hands. I mean, I've got a lot going on here with my family and with work and other things, but yeah, maybe one day.
We have vacancies at DiscusX. We will need someone to work with us.
Run away! I'm gonna run away.
Yeah. So
Where'd Garrett go?
very soon, Sammy will need to take a break, and we will have to have someone in training to take the position from him. So this is an advertisement for a vacancy that will soon be available.
Awesome.
But, yeah, it's something I want to say. I'm proud of what we have achieved in DiscusX, but it's I have to be very humble. It's just many other things. It's there's most. I personally consider it just blessings from God. So people maybe call it coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidence. So I believe in faith. I have faith, and I believe in everything is planned. Anything we achieved, anything that have come up and we have tried, it's just one step of blessing on the way. So to be humble, because I have made horrible mistakes around the way, lost a lot of discus. So it's something anyone can achieve with some effort. It's not something miraculous. Yeah.
Awesome.
Jamil wants to know what you use to get Prasi dissolved in water.
Yeah, there are ways to dissolve Prasi in water, but it's something we don't practice. People use alcohol or dimethyl sulfoxide. Yeah. It also activates the bacteria. Some bacteria feeds on that, so people should be very careful if they. It can be used, but they should be careful when they are using it. They should keep the tanks very clean, filters very clean. So we don't use it. It can be done. So yeah.
Right, and vodka is the one that I use. You can use rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
You can use. I can't even think of the different things that you can use, but I just prefer vodka. I just use a small amount until it's dissolved, and then I add water to it and shake it until it's mixed, and then I add it to the water.
You can use for.
Have you experienced plumes with that? Bacterial plumes or cloudy water? Or no?
With the vodka.
With the vodka.
Yeah, I have. I've used vodka and had some tanks cloud up real fast.
Yeah.
Usually, so when I use it like that and use it with vodka, I will also mix it with formaldehyde. I find that to work a lot better, but you still get the cloudy water within the 48 hours. But like I said, I'm a big fan of treating for that 48 hours and then moving all the fish to a new tank, break, and then doing it again. I'm not a big fan of treating the tank over and over because you like you said, you have to be really clean. It has to be really clean, and you have to scrub it down after that, especially if you're going to repeat the treatment in the same tank. But yeah, it will. Vodka and formaldehyde will, definitely, yes.
Yeah, this was my personal experience too. Yeah, with both DMSO and alcohol as well.
Right.
Anytime.
Also people don't of alcohol.
I'm glad you guys all made it in to watch the live stream today.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's going to conclude our live stream for the day. Hopefully, we'll be able to get God to come back and join us again at some point, and everything. But I'm hoping.
Yeah, sure. I enjoyed the discussion so much today, so I would love to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. I mean, we've never met. I'm glad to finally meet you somewhat in person. You're a very humble person. Everyone in your facility that that I talk to online, they're very humble people. And thank you for sharing all this with us. I mean, you guys are really, I mean, this is how you stay in business. You have to evolve. You have to go high tech. You have to use things to your advantage. And this you just showed all of us of how it can be done differently. And there are many ways to keep and raise and breed discus, and this way is probably the future way. This is awesome stuff. So thank you so much.
You're most welcome, and there's always room for improvement. This is what we don't think we have reached the peak of let's say we can always do things better, and that's how we think. So we keep improving things. And we are always open for any feedback, any suggestions. We believe we have inspired actually many times. Many of the things we have done from hobbyists. So we have not invented the basket method. Many hobbyists have already opened the way for us when we saw that there are ways of raising fry. So it's actually, as you said, the community helps each other to get better. So if you keep on collecting the best practices from everyone, then you are definitely going to succeed. If you think you're going to do everything on your own, you are meant to fail, because it's a very, very long way. You need many lives over your life just to experiment everything by your own. So, yeah.
Two heads are better than
doing
one.
It together.
Yeah, the hobby itself is a constant learning experience. You may learn something one week, and it may turn that you need to learn something, the same thing or different thing about the same thing next week. Like you found this new filtration way to do your filtration. Well, next week you may realize that that's not the best way to do it. You may need to do it another way. So it's a constant learning, a constant growing. I think, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the hobby. If you've been in the hobby for 10 years, you've got 50 more years or 60 more years of learning to do.
Right. I even learned today, and yes, I learned a lot today. Even the patience of it's just great. Good. It was a good interview. Thank you.
Yeah, I learn every day. This has been a really good learning experience for me. Being able to see this, this huge farm and all of the different ways that the filtration works, and how they do the babies, the ages they're moving them from one tank to the other. That's all of it is learning for me. We've been doing discus for a long time, but we just started breeding. What's it been, about 3-4 years now, Carrie?
Yeah.
So I didn't know the first thing about breeding, so we're still learning about breeding discus. We've had them for a long time, but the breeding part of it we never really looked into because we weren't interested in it at the time. Mm-hmm. Now that we are, it's been a constant every day having to learn something new, having to remember what you learned, and actually putting everything that you've learned into the actual fish. So, I mean, there's a lot to it, a lot more than people realize.
Yeah. Yes.
Dedication,
and
got to be in your heart.
Yeah, we have spent 2 hours speaking, and we have not even touched into the hobby, because eventually the hobby is it will come down. Maybe it's just a personal opinion, but it will come down to breeding and creating new strains, and we have not even come down to genetics yet.
Yeah, that just shows how much there is to the farm itself, and what goes into it, what you put into it. There's so much there that you don't. I mean, you could speak for days on the different topics that are actually in one fish farm. Right. The strains, the creations, everything that goes into it could take days to even discuss. So we touched on some of it. We got to see your farm. I think that was absolutely amazing, and I would love to have you back and we could talk strains and that sort of thing as well.
Part two.
Part 2.
Genetics and breeding, it's very very interesting, and one of the points that makes it interesting is that not every breeder shares the real genetic information. There's always a secret, because it's that's how the scene works. So everyone wants to create a new strain, just get the fruit out of selling that strain, and then maybe reveal the secret, or the secret will be revealed by itself when people start to experiment. But there's a lot of information by experiment we have found since we came from outside of the scene. So we have discovered that it's not true, and some of the information shared in the scene, maybe it's so maybe this is something to talk about when we go to genetics. There is a lot of secrets there that needs to be revealed.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah,
sure.
I would too. I know I started when I wanted to learn about the genetics. I started from the beginning, from when they were bringing the wild fish out of the Amazon. I started with Jack Otley's book and just started reading up on it. And then I got with Kerry and started picking his brain, and he's got a lot of information in his brain.
And like you said, that a lot of that is secret. So the way some of it gets figured out is kind of like reverse engineering. So you have this type of discus, and now you breed it, and then you notice, well, some of the babies are snow based, and some of the babies are, brown based. So you kind of, it's like reverse engineering. You kind of figure it out a little bit, and then the basics, like you said, after a while, some of them are released, some of the secrets on what did this to make that, and so on. But that's kind of how I learned a lot of it, was just breeding the fish itself and seeing what it produced and going from there.
Right. And I don't think all the strains have been found yet. I think there's a lot of new strains that can still be created from the discus.
I totally agree. Actually, the best way to do it as a hobbyist is trying to make crosses that have not been experimented with before, or they are not common. So this is when you will start getting new things. Also with discus, it's, as you said, Kerry, it's very tricky because you have the ghost, golden, pigeon, white, and wild or brown genes working together, and they interact in different ways.
Yes.
And you don't sometimes you don't even know what is going to come out when you. So there's many things to be discovered. I don't think everything has been made yet.
Yes.
On the opposite, I think especially the snow white gene. I think the snow white gene is key to all the new strains going to come up soon.
Yeah, I agree with you.
One hint into the the doorway. Pigeon blood has already been exhausted, but snow white is
a lot of snow white stuff going on.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna get going, you guys. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure and my honor to.
Thanks, Sammy, for the host for hosting the interview. I'm pleased to know you better now. We had a few discussions before in chat and Kerry too on Facebook groups. So it was really, really nice seeing you and talking to you in person now.
Give my regards to Sammy too, please do.
Sure.
All right, you guys take care. Thank you, Tammy. You take care as well. All right.
Everybody,
thank you very much.
We'll see you guys next time on Discus Talk.
Bye.
Make sure to like and subscribe, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.